Today I'm going to be reviewing Book of the Wyrm for Witness Setting. The book originally retailed for $15. This is one of my favorite books for the Werewolf the Apocalypse line. They made both the
first and second edition of this book. This is the first edition of it. Both editions are very good. The second edition costs you a good bit more. The first edition you can probably get for less than $10 on eBay. Well worth picking up if you do not have this in your Werewolf collection. Let me show you one of the pieces of art in here that I particularly liked. You can see that. Now, the book starts off talking about the Black Spiral Dancers, and it gives you a great deal of information about the Black Spiral Dancers, formerly the White Howlers, and how this tribe came to descend into the degradation of the Wyrm. Now, it talks about the Black Spiral Dancers' litany, about their kinfolk, about the Bane totems which they follow. One thing particularly disturbing in the hives of the Black Spiral Dancers, it talks about how the Metis cubs are kept in the pits, and that basically anyone that is a Black Spiral Dancer can kill one for absolutely any reason without even being questioned or having any repercussions befall them before that cub has undergone the rite of passage. And that rite of passage is also detailed. And that rite of passage is dancing the Black Spiral, a maddening event to really suffuse oneself with the Wyrm. It speaks a bit about the connection between Pentex, the corporation of the Wyrm, and the Black Spiral Dancers, as well as the Sabbat and the Black Spiral Dancers. It mentions a small coven of mages that they work with on assassination sometimes. It talks about the geographies, the different countries in which the Black Spirals work in, and how they work there, and a little bit about that. The next chapter, chapter 2, is about Pentex, dealing with the way Pentex sets up Pentex first teams. It gives you NPC descriptions complete with pictures of the board of directors of Pentex. Now, some of them I thought were just a little hokey. They're a little too supernaturally. I think if you just keep them normal humans that are really disgusting, deranged, and the pure degraded people, they come off a little better. They're too all over the place for me. They just a little hokey, a little silly like that. I think that loses some of the true nastiness of them. And these are pretty much the epitome of bad people. They have a 3-part plan. And their goals with this plan are: first, defilement, to whittle down the planet and its defenses, to damage Gaia and the Earth spirits, and to take away all that is pure and wholesome, and reconstruction, and finally domination. They think that they can basically bring the entire planet under the sway of the Wyrm and create just a horrible, horrible place. And in this 3-step process that they outline, they really go about the ways that they plan to do that. It speaks about the different divisions of the company, and it speaks about the top 21 corporations, and it goes into listing off their names. For more information is available on that in Pentex Subsidiaries, which is not really a great book. This is certainly a lot better, and it's not really information that you particularly need. Most of them are just sort of coded. O'Tully's is McDonald's, Walmart, any big business that you think is particularly corrupt, put them in Pentex, and use the real world examples. Don't use silly things. The fact, if you're running it as McDonald's is, poisoning you and poisoning the planet, that's going to have a lot more effect than onto your players than O'Tully's, which obviously they didn't want to get sued for saying, making allegations against the company, but you're not going to get sued for running that in your game, so just run with that. It speaks a little bit about Project Iliad, which is the creation of Fomori and designing of certain Fomori breeds and their propagation. I speak about this a bit more if you can go back down and look at my video on Fomori, a Freak Legion. It's a 2-part video, and it'll go more into detail about Project Iliad, which is basically what that book is about. Also speaks about Project Odyssey, which are their psychics. You can go down to Hunter's Hunted. There's a video I did below. There's a bit more information about psychics and psychic nomina in the game.
it does speak about the top 21 corporations of Pentex, so they have a lot of businesses owned under the Pentex name. It speaks about their positioning and where they are in different countries throughout the world, so it speaks about the worldwide organization and structure of Pentex. The next chapter is about Malfeast, the Realm of the Wyrm. So basically you're going to be talking about some extraplanar stuff there, going deep into the Umbra and finding out where this horrors of corruption and death really exist. And it speaks about the different entities that are there, the slave mass armies of the Wyrm that are developed there and are looking to come out and wage war. It speaks about the history and gives you a lot of information there. The next chapter is about the Wyrm specifically. It speaks about the cosmology, about how the Wyrm was entrapped, about urge worms, and it gives you a lot more information for a new player on understanding between those two chapters, understanding the Wyrm, what it is, where it comes from, and how it is going to be affecting, so you can integrate those aspects into the role playing of your game. Gives you a lot of ideas for tone and mood and theme. And remember, mood and tone are extremely important in World of Darkness. You really want to get over that creepy, disturbed feeling, particularly when you're dealing with the Wyrm. You're dealing with really the most demonic force there is, and it's a force of ravaging insanity because it's been broken and destroyed. And it even in this book, there's some hints, which there are in a few different places, that the Wyrm is itself actually something held over from a previous reality that essentially devoured and destroyed that entire reality, destroying perhaps what used to be the Weaver and the Wild, and it's essentially that old. The next chapter, you get into the Wyrm's Brood. It starts off with Black Spiral Dancers. It details a few Black Spiral Dancer gifts. Not really enough, though. Not really full on. There was never a tri-book Black Spiral Dancer. That was a book I was always looking to have come out. Black Spiral Dancers are very interesting. The depraved looks of them. A lot of them actually have a bit of a bat-like cast to their facial features when they're in Krynos, which is the half-man, half-wolf form for those that aren't aware of that. Their tribe totem is the corrupted Whippoorwill, and it deals with some of the other Bane totems that you can have as personal totems if you are a Black Spiral Dancer. Those are listed as, again, some of the gifts that they have are listed. You can also find some of the talons and fetishes. Fetishes are like permanent magical items, and talons are like one-shot magical items. They contain Bane spirits within them, or even perhaps pure spirits that have been worked towards a corrupted purpose. A Fomori or a Black Spiral Dancer would certainly delight in such things. And speaking of Fomori, they're also detailed in here. Freak Legion obviously is far more details and depth, but there's enough in here to get you started, particularly to use these creatures as monsters. It details how a Pentex first team operates, and it gives you an entire Pentex first team complete with already done up characters, all the names, stats that you need to run them as full characters. And then it speaks about Banes, which are essentially demons, corrupted spirits of the Wyrm, and then some other just random things that they call monsters. So overall, I love this book. I think it's something that you absolutely have to have if you're going to play Werewolf the Apocalypse. I give it an 8.75 out of 10, and would recommend that you pick up the Book of the Wyrm, either first or second edition. Either one is going to get you there. Here is the back cover, and this has been Anderwood, and I've been true to the game.